We are in León, Mexico for the first gravel event of the season, and Jari-Matti Latvala has continued his fine form. The championship leader, who won last time out in Sweden, was fastest in shakedown by 1.1 seconds in his Polo R through the dusty 6.27-kilometre Llano Grande stage. Citroen's Chris Meek also impressed on his first outing in the Mexican wilderness. The British star looking for a strong run after a frustrating weekend in Sweden, and he has made a solid start in the North American heat.
Into long, one left, 450, and two right.
Meek second fastest in shakedown in his fourth and final run to move ahead of Sébastien Ogier. The world champion dropped points as well in the wintry forests of Scandinavia, but is in relaxed mood following his team's strong performance in Mexico's high-altitude stages last year, the scene of Ogier's first gravel victory in Volkswagen colours. Third fastest in the shakedown stage, 9/10 of a second slower than Meek. Chris Atkinson, meanwhile, was 9th quickest in his first outing in the Hyundai i20. The Australian completing 5 runs through the stage and back at the sport's top level in a works team for the first time since Mexico last year. So there is confirmation of the shakedown leaderboard. Latvala fastest with Meek there in second. Andreas Mikkelsen ensures there are 3 Volkswagens in the top 5. Mads Osberg was 5th. The party has well and truly started in Guanajuato, Mexico, in the shadow of the Abondida de Granaditas building that witnessed the start of the Mexican War of Independence just over 200 years ago. Last night it witnessed the spark of another Rally Guanajuato, Mexico. Championship leader for the first time in his career, Jari-Matti Latvala, the first to pass over the ceremonial start ramp in front of thousands of excitable Mexican fans. The colour and noise of the opening party was followed by the first action of the week. Stage 1, a spectacular blast through the tunnels of Guanajuato in the heart of this UNESCO World Heritage Site. World champion Sébastien Ogier making the best start over the cobbled streets. Andreas Mikkelsen maintained his strong form in the sprint super special stages, the Norwegian ensuring there were 2 Volkswagens in the top 3 with the 3rd fastest time in Guanajuato.
Flat left, 140 over previous. 4 right.
It was this morning, though, when the real action got started in the mountains above the historic old silver mining town, and there was bad news to come for the Volkswagen team. Mikkelsen's strong start blighted after flying off the road in stage 3. And Citroen's Mads Osberg wasted little time taking the fight to the VWs, storming into the lead on the same stage. And there was bad news for Roy Tanak after setting a stunning second fastest time in Guanajuato, the Estonian too falling foul of the Mexican roads on this opening morning. This is how the leaderboard looks, with Mads Osberg leading the way, Sébastien Ogier second, and Mikko Hirvonen in third. We've had a day of Mexico madness in the hills above Guanajuato. The mayhem beginning in the morning with Mikko Hirvonen narrowly avoiding a wandering cow. Close calls with the Mexican wildlife and ever-present danger in these undulating gravel tracks. The first victim was Andreas Mikkelsen, overcooking it into a left-hander on the same stage and crunching into an unforgiving lump of Mexican mountain. The suspension on the Polo R smashed, and that marks the end of the Norwegian's day. Chris Atkinson has suffered a torrid ride on his debut in the new Hyundai i20. Meanwhile, a succession of mechanical issues, and he then sheared a bolt in his suspension in stage 4. Mercifully, though, Atkinson was able to limp back to service. Which is more than can be said for Hirvonen, the Finn's best run since his return to M Sport, ending with alternator problems in stage 8. And just a few kilometres later, Chris Meek was out too, the Finn's fine run to 4th on his Mexico debut, ending with a suspension smash. Away from all that, remarkably, there has actually been a rally to fight over. Mads Osberg was the leader after the morning loop, but he was chased hard by you-know-who. With the Norwegians suffering from oversteer issues in the second pass through the stages, that man, Sébastien Ogier, pounced, storming into the lead in stage 7. The Frenchman's advantage at the end of the day almost reaching half a minute over Osberg, with Latvala now third following Hirvonen's exit. Robert Kubica rolled out on the penultimate super special, with Elfyn Evans now up to 4th. Rally Guanajuato, Mexico has a reputation as a car breaker, but the 2014 edition has been particularly brutal. This was Robert Kubica making a spectacular exit from the previous night's Super Special. The circuit racing ace perhaps briefly forgetting he was driving a car set up for gravel on tarmac. They did get the Fiesta back on four wheels, but were unable to start Friday's final stage and began this morning down in ninth. Out front though, and surviving the carnage going on behind, is world champion Sébastien Ogier, with a lead of almost half a minute at the start of the day, and now with road positions reversed so he has a cleared path through the loose gravel, the VW man has spent the morning extending his advantage. And Ogier's job has been made even easier because his closest rival at the start of the day, Mads Osberg, has already come unstuck. The latest on a growing list of drivers to damage his suspension, the Norwegian was in trouble on the first stage of the day. Repairs were made in an attempt to continue, but it would be in vain. And Osberg's nightmare start has enabled championship leader Jari-Matti Latvala to pass the Citroën man on the leaderboard and make it a VW 1-2 by the end of the morning loop in Mexico. So this is how things stand after 13 stages. Ogier with a healthy lead of 49 seconds, with Latvala second, and Thierry Neuville now a remarkable third position for Hyundai after passing Elfyn Evans in stage 13. The 10th anniversary running of Rally Guanajuato, Mexico has become something of a demolition derby. Andreas Mikkelsen making an even more dramatic exit than he did the previous day, missing a hole on the inside of the left hand, and the Polo R flipped onto its roof. Don't cut should have been the call in the notes, and the result was a second successive early bath for the Volkswagen second team driver. Like Mikkelsen, Robert Kubica has been driving under the Rally 2 restart rules, and like the Norwegian, the Ford privateer has made a dizzying exit from Saturday's stages. Sliding wide on the loose gravel, just slightly offline, but off down the bank they went. And once again, Kubica's car was on his roof. The high attrition rate, though, has enabled Thierry Neuville to be flying the Hyundai flag high, following 2 DNFs for his new team. Finally, it's coming together nicely for the Belgian Bullet. Neuville third at the end of the day. Up front, though, it's the Volkswagens again who reign supreme, having moved up to second following Osberg's exit. Jari-Matti Latvala's run hasn't been entirely without incident. A cracked windscreen not unduly troubling the Finn here in stage 13. But for his rally-leading teammate Sébastien Ogier, it has been very much back to business as usual. Unbeaten in the 5 proper stages of the day, the Frenchman has been back to his dominant best in Mexico. Ogier's lead just over a minute after the 2 super special stages that ended the day, with Latvala a comfortable second, and Hyundai will be delighted to see their man Neuville up in third. Elfyn Evans and Martin Prokop round off the top 5. The final day on the 10th anniversary running of the Rally Guanajuato, Mexico, and the brutal, unforgiving nature of this event has continued. Chris Meek smashing his suspension on a rock for the second time in the weekend, this on the end of Rally Power Stage. Sunday's stages included a sting in the tail in the 56-kilometre Guanajuatito stage, so a nervous morning for the likes of Elfyn Evans, the young Welshman, on course for a career-best 4th position. The M-Sport man had driven a near-perfect rally and fully deserved this landmark result. As does Thierry Neuville after 2 frustrating outings in his opening rallies with Hyundai. The Belgian has responded in some style. Despite some issues on the i20's first visit to the engine-sapping high-altitude stages of Mexico, an incredible drive has secured Hyundai's first ever podium finish. Championship leader Jari-Matti Latvala had a small scare in the Marathon Guanajuatito test, fearing a suspension issue. Thankfully, the fears proved unfounded and the Finn was able to continue trouble-free for the final 2 stages. A runner-up position and second in the power stage as well for an extra couple of points. The star of the rally once again, though, had undoubtedly been Latvala's teammate Ogier, the Frenchman passing another landmark by securing the 250th stage win of his career, along with his 18th victory. Victory in the power stage as well ensures he takes the lead in the title race. So a second consecutive 1-2 result for Volkswagen, with Ogier's final winning margin over Latvala a minute and 12 seconds. Neuville secures a first ever podium finish for Hyundai, and Evans a career best fourth. Prokop fifth for his best result of the season to date.